All right, guys, we're going to review an insurance quote today and let you guys know the important line items to look for when you get one of these back and the things that insurance likes to skip that you need to be aware of. So this is a hail claim, and it has paint and siding on it and roofing and gutters. So Safeco loves to merge everything together and make it super confusing. So I thought I'd do the most confusing one possible. The other ones will look a little bit more simple. So at the top here, they're giving you the paint and the siding, and the columns up here are going to be the same on pretty much every insurance quote that you see. You have a quantity, a unit price, and a per. The quantity could be anything from square footage to linear footage to roofing squares, but that'll tell you what they're talking about on the per column here. So on this one, we have 2,522 square feet because it's the quantity and the per, and then the unit price for each. The O and P, that stands for overhead and profit, which insurance companies almost never give. That basically is for the contractor to coordinate everything, and insurance companies hate contractors. So that's almost always zero all the way down because they're just giving us a big middle finger. The RC stands for replacement cost, depreciation, and ACV stands for actual cash value. And these are really important columns to understand and how they work. So the RC on this line item here, prime and paint the siding, they're saying to replace the damage that was done to the paint is going to cost $5,121. They're saying that paint job was very old. This amount, I don't know what they're depreciating, but probably 10 years. So they're taking off $3,841 of depreciation, and the RC minus the depreciation line gives you the actual cash value, which means this is what your paint job was worth at the time of the storm. It had $1,280 left of life in it. So the important thing to know is, are you getting a RC policy or an ACV policy? And that's one question that you need to ask your insurance agent before you get into storm season. Do I have replacement cost policy, or do I have actual cash value policy? The ACV is the one you do not want. You're going to lose a lot of money if you do get into a storm situation. So that's how those columns work. I'm going to scroll down to roofing because we're a roofing company here. So here's the roof plan. They're saying the roof area is 2,068 square feet, and that's 20.7 squares. A square is just a 10 by 10 area on the roof. Here's how much soffit there is, what the linear footage of the eaves and the linear footage of the ridges. Safeco likes to do ITEL shingles, which is the lowest price they can possibly put on an insurance claim without getting sued. That's what ITEL stands for, essentially. But that's what they do, and that's how we have to deal with them. But this is a class 4 shingle required area on this particular claim, and they're doing ITEL shingles laminated architectural. And what this needs to say is shingles impact resistant, and that price per square is quite a bit different. So that is an important thing for this guy. And another thing to ask your insurance agent is, do I have code upgrade insurance? Because if you live in a class 4 area and you do not have code upgrade insurance, they are not going to pay you for the difference between what your roof replacement costs and the upgraded required code items. So you want to make sure you have code upgrade insurance. So again, on this one, whenever you see the word remove, that just means they're paying us to remove the shingles. This is the actual shingles themselves, and then this is what they're paying us to install the shingles. So you put these three together. That's basically what they're giving us for the shingle portion of the roof. And then you have all the different roofing components on there, and they are going to miss quite a few of them on their estimates because they try to get away with whatever they can. But here we got starter shingle. FYI, 6% waste will never cut it on anything. They're giving 11% on some, 6% on some. We are almost always at 10% waste, and that's a hard battle to fight. Sometimes we have to eat that cost from insurance, but these are, just so you know, things that they try to get away with. They're paying us to remove a 2-story roof and replace it on a 2-story roof. Those are important things. Replace felt synthetic good. One's a little confusing. I'm not super familiar with the ITEL felt synthetic good line item in particular, but I have a feeling it's probably felt is what they're paying for. They have no idea if you have synthetic underlayment underneath there. I wish the cities would require synthetic underlayment. We would be much happier with them. We do synthetic every time, no matter what. Felt is a garbage product that was used in the 80s and should not even be sold anymore for roofs. It deteriorates in about 5 to 7 years. And a big whopping 2% waste on that quantity, which is not great. This is where insurance really likes to skip over things. So they're giving us drip edge, very generous on them. That's great. 5% waste. Valley flashing. Okay. Roof to wall flashing. This is one that they typically skip. So this adjuster put it in there, which is awesome. But typically they're going to ask the roofer to be extremely careful when we're tearing off shingles, not to damage the roof to wall flashing. And it's not their responsibility to replace it. You can't tear off the shingles and not damage that flashing. So we always have to replace that. Same with step flashing, which they did not put on this claim. So that's one of the line items that they just skipped over entirely. And then all this other stuff, they're going to give you bottom of the barrel that they can remove and reset roof vent static box turtle. So they're not even paying us for the new vents up there. They're saying carefully pull those really crappy static vents off that were put on there by the bottom of the barrel roofer that did it last time, and carefully put them back on. We don't do that. We will throw these away and board those holes and put up a nice clean ridge vent where you're not going to get insurance to pay for that. But that's what we are going to do. They are only paying us for 6 static vents that are up there. And this roof, according to code, requires 18 of those crappy little vents to get it up to code. So that's why we just do a ridge vent instead of trying to put 18 of these really crappy static vents back on the roof. And we typically get insurance to pay for some of that to get them up to code, but that's a big line item that we'll be missing off of here. And that's why our quotes are quite a bit higher than insurance, as all these things add up. Flashing a split pipe boot. That's pretty standard stuff. We don't put on these crappy plastic pipe boots. We put on steel 50-year pipe boots, but that's an upgrade that we do for you guys that insurance doesn't pay us for. And then we got some gutters in here. Looks like they're paying for gutters, but they don't want to pay for downspouts, which is another dumb thing that insurance likes to do. We will put on new downspouts because you don't want brand new gutters with 20-year-old downspouts that don't match at all. So that's something that we just do out of pocket as well. This is one where if you see something and there's a line through it, that means paid when incurred. And that basically means after we do the work, if we show them that we did indeed take off 23 squares worth of shingles and had to dump them, then they will pay us that amount. But when it's crossed out like that, that's all it means is we're going to put this on there, but it's paid when incurred. You'll see this a lot when we send in a supplement and they approve the supplement, like when we sent in our class 4 shingle upgrade supplement, they'll put it back on there and then they'll put a line through it and they'll be like, okay, we understand that we have to pay this, but we are not counting it on the quote until you actually do the work, which is fair. But that's why there's a line through it. It means paid when incurred. So the bottom of the quote is really where a lot of the meat is and where you can tell what's going on. Most insurance adjusters, other than Safeco ones, will line these out for like paint, siding, and roof, and you'll get little subtotals that makes it much more clear. Safeco adjusters are typically lazy, and not all of them, but this is a very typical Safeco quote, unfortunately, and they just mish it all mashed together. So you have to do the math yourself on how much they're paying for the roof and how much they're paying for the siding and the paint and et cetera. However, here's the things that you want to look at that will help it make sense. So net actual cash value on covered building, $19,444, and then the replacement cost value is $25,388. So you're looking at all these numbers that are in bold, and there's a bunch of different ones. We got $25,888, we got $19,044, we got $16,544, and $23,380. So you're sitting there like, okay, what the heck am I actually getting paid out? So I'll break this down for you. Here's the subtotal of the entire claim, $25,388. Here's the replacement cost value. Remember the RC line item that we were talking about, $25,880.71. Now the difference between these two are the taxes they put in to get you the total line for $25,880. Now we have the deductions. So we have less debris removal, which is that dumpster that's paid when incurred. So they're going to take that off now, and when we do it, they'll put it back on. And then we have the recoverable depreciation. So all of those RC line items, that got depreciated, they added those up. The total is $6,204. Now remember, you're also going to get that back when the work is done, as long as you have the RCV policy. You can tell that you have the RCV policy because right here it says recoverable depreciation. When you don't have that policy, it's going to say non-recoverable depreciation. And then you're going to know I'm going to be out of pocket on some of this roof because I have a cheap insurance policy. Paid when incurred, debris removal. So they're adding these things back in. So they took them off up here. They're saying, here's your actual cash value. And here's what you get when the work is done. Adds up to $25,880, the same price as right here. Now they're going to take off your deductible. Whatever your deductible is, this gentleman's deductible is $2,500. And they're going to take that off of the total ACV. So your net estimate is $16,544. Now that just means your ACV minus your deductible is $16,544. So a lot of people freak out. They see, well, my net estimate is $16,544 and your estimate is $30,000. Like, I can't work with you. And that's how we have to really explain to folks, well, your net estimate is actually $25,880 minus your deductible, which you are responsible for. So your actual estimate, your check that you will get back from insurance when all the work is done is $23,380, plus any code upgrade items and any supplements that are approved by insurance, which we won't know on this until we get that back and approved. But they have to approve the things that are required by code, which they missed a lot on here. And that's why we are $7,000 higher than the net estimate if depreciation is recovered line item right here. So Once we get that supplement approved, we're going to be at our $30,000 estimate for the job, and you will be out of pocket nothing other than the deductible. So I know it's confusing. I wish insurance wasn't as confusing, but hopefully that breaks it down a little bit in a better manner so that you can understand what you're reading on your insurance claim. And as always, we are more than happy to review your claim with you. We can't review your policy, but we're more than happy to review your claim with you and tell you exactly what's going on, what you're getting paid out, and what you can expect once the job is fully done and completed. It's one of the things that we do here, and it's an absolute free service. You can use this anytime, even if you're not going to use this as your roofer. Alrighty, thanks so much.